They say time heals everything, but it also destroys everything. Have you noticed how fast it's going by? Back then, a summer felt endless. The hours seemed to stretch. The days were infinite adventures, and the weeks were in no rush to end. But now, the years slip away before you even realize. January turns into December before you've even figured out what happened in March. When did this acceleration begin? This phenomenon isn't just a passing feeling or a nostalgic illusion. It's a deeply human experience, well documented in psychological and neurological studies. Scientists call it the subjective acceleration of time, and it has an unsettlingly logical explanation. The more time you've lived, the smaller each new period feels in proportion. 1 year, when you're 5, is 20% of your life. At 50, it's barely 2%. Your mind compares it to everything that came before, and the result is devastating. Everything begins to feel shorter, more fleeting, more ephemeral. But it's not just about age. It's also about attention. The less present we are, the more blurry our days become. We live on autopilot, trapped between screens, routines, and obligations that make a whole week feel like a single sleepless night. When we stop perceiving the world with wonder, time stops being felt and simply escapes. The illusion of time and its possible real acceleration. Now, what if time wasn't just accelerating in your mind? What if it were actually accelerating in the universe? It's a question that sounds more like science fiction than science. But some advanced physics theories invite us to rethink everything we think we know about time. Because the truth is, just like space, time could be stretching, curving, or even collapsing. The universe is expanding. We've known that for decades. But what we don't fully understand is how this expansion affects the very fabric of space-time. According to relativity, time is not a constant. It stretches, compresses, and changes its pace depending on gravity and speed. And if the universe is expanding faster and faster, as observations about dark energy suggest, what effect could that have on the pace of time as we experience it? Some theorists even suggest we might be approaching a phase in which time itself, as we know it, begins to fall apart. A kind of temporal entropy where the laws that govern our present become unstable. And although it may sound exaggerated, it's worth asking, what if this feeling that everything is happening too fast isn't just perception, but a subtle warning from the cosmos itself? Time paradoxes and how we experience it. Another paradox surrounding time is the way we remember it. Has it ever happened that a long and intense moment, like a trip or a deep conversation, feels brief in hindsight? That's because time isn't stored in the brain as a linear sequence. Memories don't measure duration, they measure intensity. And the more repetitive your life becomes, the less new material your brain generates, and the lighter your memories become. As children, everything was new. Learning to walk, to speak, discovering colors, sounds, emotions, ideas. Every stimulus was a revolution. That's why childhood feels so long. But then comes the routine, the repetition, work, responsibilities, commitments. Days become mirror images of one another. And that's when time, instead of being lived, dissolves. Neuroscience has discovered that time is intimately linked to our perception of change. If there is no change, there is no time. If everything is the same as yesterday, your brain doesn't bother recording the details. So time disappears. That's why living consciously, exploring, creating, learning doesn't just enrich you. It lengthens your subjective time. In other words, doing more things doesn't take your time away. It gives it back to you. The great trap, believing you have time. Perhaps the greatest deception of all is this, the belief that you have time, that you can always start tomorrow, later, Monday, next year. But that later doesn't exist. It's just a comfortable invention that allows us to postpone the important without facing the vertigo of action. We think time is an endless highway, when in fact it's a rope that shortens second by second. Every day you let pass, every decision you don't make, every passion you abandon, is time that won't come back. And you don't notice it at first. But then comes that moment, that painful epiphany, the instant you realize you've lived more time than you have left. Or worse, that you've lived without really being alive. And that's when many people wake up. But sometimes it's too late, because time doesn't send notifications. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It doesn't wait for you to feel like it. It just keeps moving forward, indifferent to your plans. You can ignore it, but it won't ignore you. You can believe you control it, but in reality, you are its prisoner. Quantum physics and nonlinear time. The most disconcerting idea of all is that, according to quantum physics, time might not even exist the way we think it does. Some theories propose that past, present, and future are happening simultaneously. We just experience them sequentially because that's how our brains are built. But in the deeper reality of the universe, everything is happening now. It's as if life were an infinite tape, and we were just a needle moving along it. In this model, the you of the past, the future, and the present all exist at the same time, but can't communicate with each other. What we call the present is nothing more than an illusion of continuity. And if that's true, are you really aging? Or are you simply shifting perspective? There are even physicists who explore the idea of the block universe, a sort of cosmic structure where everything that has happened and will happen already exists. In that case, free will might be an illusion, a radical idea, but no less fascinating. Because if everything already exists, then your time isn't lost. It just changes shape. The eternal instant and the awareness of time. Ironically, the more we understand time, the more we realize that the only thing we truly have is the present. But the present is impossible to catch. The moment you name it, it's already gone. The moment you feel it, it's already memory. And yet, it's the only thing you have. You can't go back, and you can't skip ahead. You can only be here. Now, the real question isn't how much time you have left, but what you're doing with it. And even deeper, are you awake while you live it? Or are you just surviving on autopilot? Because the truth is, each second is a coin that cannot be recovered. You can spend it or invest it. You can ignore it or appreciate it. But you can't stop it. So what are you doing with your now? What are you giving up every time you choose to do nothing? And now, after all of this, after diving into theories, paradoxes, and uncomfortable truths, are you running out of time? Maybe you don't know. Maybe you do. But one thing is certain. You don't have as much as you thought. So the next time you say later, remember this. The clock doesn't wait. It doesn't stop. It doesn't forgive. Because the most important question isn't whether you're running out of time, but whether you're starting to value the little you have left. More than 75% of people who watch our videos are not subscribed to the channel. So, if you want to support us, don't forget to subscribe and share the channel so that we continue to grow as a universe family. Don't forget to leave your like and tell us what you thought of the video. See you next time. See you later.